Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Dr. Stone Season 3 on Toonami. And I overall really enjoyed this season. I liked seeing more of the adventures of Senku and the Kingdom of Science as they're trying to figure out what's kind of going on with the world and figure out more stuff about like the petrification beam and everything along those lines. So they had pretty much picked up a weird kind of transmission, and they're trying to figure out what's kind of going on with that, and we have a new character, Ryusui, brought in, who is this really rich kind of dude and is greedy and wants the whole world. But I kind of like that they kind of changed it up, that he actually worked well within the Kingdom of Science. He wants to help people, even though he's like, I want everything in the world. It was an interesting kind of take on it, and it'll be interesting to see how more of his stuff kind of comes into conflict with Tsukasa later on. But we see that they bring him in because he's got like stuff with sailing experience. We see them gathering materials, building a new ship, the Perseus, getting his old butler back up and running because she knows how to do pretty much a lot of things, mainly focusing on food and making stuff for long-term kind of voyages and beefing up their whole agriculture game. As Senku's like, we need to go to the Soyuz rocket because there's something left there that we will need for the revival fluids as we're going for platinum and everything. So we see them kind of go off. We see this one dude named Soyuz who came from this island, and we learned more about his backstory. Now granted, we learn more about it more in the second half, because this has like 22 episodes and it's split in half. It was really kind of a weird, kind of lengthy time. I know that Crunchyroll, being as it is doing some kind of crazy play, so I understand that we've got some weirdness that's going on between Toonami and them, and trying to like catch up and make sure everything's dubbed correctly. There was just some long periods of like, what the fuck? So I was like, I don't know, I want more of this, because they really do a good job of the dub with this show for me. So we then get to this island where we're supposedly learning the petrification beam and everything was kind of the origins. We do not get that exactly, but we do get in the new kind of wrinkle that the island does have access to the petrification weapon. Kind of. If it makes sense, because we learn throughout pretty much the second part that there is someone on the moon raining these kind of things down, and that these islanders have been using it as like a weapon and punishment for this Master Ibarra, even though the master of the island had been Soyuz's father, and that he had escaped with his mother, and that's how he kind of came up to be within the Kingdom of Science kind of region. But we see that this island is not in the best kind of shape. I mean, it's not in a horrible kind of shape. It's still kind of on par with the Kingdom of Science before Senku went and did stuff with it. But they are ruled over by Master Ibarra, taking everything that he can. We've got Mose and Kirisame, his pretty much lieutenants, who are kind of unbeatable, kind of tactical kind of ones. And it's interesting to see Senku deal with these, because when they get there, they kind of get really fucked. I mean, Senku and the rest are able to kind of escape, but most of the crew of the Perseus are petrified. And the thing is, we need the petrification weapon to help heal Tsukasa. And it's really interesting that it's utilized in these kind of fashions, because we get Ginro and Kohaku and Amaryllis. They're in to the island people, learning all this information and going in, trying to learn where the Soyuz is, learn where the platinum is. Senku using little drones first that are just on the ground, and then building a drone to fight aerial combat-wise. It's nuts. It's like, what the fuck? But that's the kind of strength of this series, of taking what the fuck kind of concepts of like our kind of tech, and then doing it in the stone world, and doing it in a way that isn't complete ass-pull, like, fuck? Because they actually go through it with the science, and I love science. I love learning about this stuff, and seeing Senku doing this kind of thing, figuring out tactically what people he needs to revive, what he can do, because he gets the platinum from the Soyuz. He's able to then create more revival fluid. They really need their master, Forge Master, and they need Taiju to kind of get to that, and seeing how they're able to do this, and do all their kind of things. trying to get everything into place, and then also making a deal with Maz before Maz is like, yeah, fuck you guys. And then having to revive, what was his name, Hakio? Let's see. Hyoga, yeah. And it was interesting because he's got those people because he doesn't want anything kind of to happen at the Kingdom of Science Village. It's like, it could be a kind of Joker kind of ace in the hole. It was kind of cool to see him be like, yeah, all right, I'll kind of like help you out. But we then see the kind of Dragon Ball kind of effect of like, yeah, you know what, maybe my way wasn't right. But it's even kind of better done in that kind of instance. Not that Dragon Ball does completely nutty thing, but like every villain kind of, well, not every villain, Frieza's not the fucking kind of case on that, but it works because you see Senku being like, listen, you can kill us all. And it's funny because it's like, yeah, I understand this. I am in a no-win scenario here. Like, that fucker could kill me. You can fucking kill me. But, we've all got, like, if you do that, guess what? You don't have fucking science and shit, motherfucker. I mean, you don't have the tech, you don't have the cell phones and shit. And seeing them have to try and deal with Ibara kind of just tried to do his own kind of thing. Even betraying Kirasame and petrifying her with the Medusa, as we get it called throughout, and Senku making a gun to kind of utilize, and it's like a weak kind of gun. Like, they kind of balance it out enough. He's like, this is a big thing that if I make this, we're gonna have some fucking issues if this gets out of hand because of what a gun can do once introduced into a as a technology introduced into a society. So I like them kind of dealing with the weight of that. But it then comes down to trying to figure out how to take out Ibara, seeing how the Medusa is used, how you say a pretty much range of effect, a time for the effect, and you toss it. It's like, huh, that's a very kind of interesting thing. Where Ibara then just goes, fucks this shit, and pretty much petrifies the whole island, but yet Senku, I could definitely see how people would think of this as an ass pull, but the Kingdom of Science was able to utilize and showcase how fast the beam spreads, and Senku was able to toss up revival fluid, revive himself, and fight and take down Ibara, and get the help of Ryusui in there as well, before reviving people again. And then we also have to revive Ginro, because he was mortally wounded during their whole kind of escapades when they were found out, and utilizing the petrification beam like this as a healing effect like that. That's a very interesting way to do it, and a very interesting kind of like, oh, this tech petrified the entire world. But it can also be utilized as a healing kind of method as well. I like that kind of double-edged kind of sword part of it. Like, it can be used for good, it can be used for evil. I like that kind of thing with it. But then we start learning that we revived this kind of older statue, and it's like, yeah, stuff was raining from the skies. We learned that there's someone or something on the moon utilizing like artificial kind of voice constructs, mimicking Senku's voice for some reason. I was like, oh shit, are we getting time travel or whatnot involved? Is this old ass Senku or whatnot? We'll have to kind of see how that kind of works out, because there's a fourth and evidently final season that's been greenlit for this. And I'm like, oh, can't wait. So we learn more about the petrification. We learn that it's some kind of technology. It's voice activated. Somebody's on the moon doing this, and this sets us up for kind of the end game scenario of Senku and them pretty much going from the Stone Age and building up to the kind of rocket, and we get everybody back to the Kingdom of Science, and then utilizing their plan, they're going to need a lot more kind of materials. We see that Senku plots this whole thing out, first going to America to create corn and make like a corn city and have everything else kind of falling into place to kind of utilize to make their rocket to go to the moon and deal with that. And also he's able to bring back Tsukasa, and that evidently the Medusa does have a finite kind of energy source, because Soyuz's father, and Soyuz stays behind on the island to lead the people, he said to never utilize the full effect of the Medusa, and they were really almost screwed over that Ibarra used it that way, because they almost weren't unable to petrify him and then revive him to heal him. And he's like, yeah, you need me for a tactical advantage and everything. And it's like, what do you need me for? We're going to the moon. Shit! And Ibarra was petrified by Ryusui and Senku's team up. That was a really kind of cool kind of effect, and I really liked how that kind of final battle worked out, because it was hard fought. There was a nice push and a pull. It wasn't one side having complete and utter tactical advantage over the other. It was like, let's see who can come out with this. So I would definitely recommend this season to anybody who's definitely been watching Dr. Stone. If you haven't been, I get that. Like, you're kind of waiting to see if it's over and if it's kind of worth it and if it keeps its consistency. Well, to me, in my opinion, it does. It's just, you get to see more of the world. You get to see new kind of character interactions. Characters stay true to themselves even when learning new information and kind of going through those kind of changes and how they would kind of be. It's an entertaining, crazy-ass anime show, and I just love it and can't wait to see how they kind of end it and how they fucking get to, we got spaceships, motherfucker. Ha-ha! Because that's just Senku. I just can't wait to see how him and the rest of the group do this and the ramifications for that. It's going to be a nutty ride, and I can't wait to see where it goes. So, those are my opinions on the season. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.